I wake up to the soft buzz of my phone, a persistent reminder of meetings, deadlines, and the life I somehow have to balance all at once. For a second, I lie in bed, listening to the soft gurgle from the nursery down the hall. Lily, our 6-month-old daughter, is stirring again. Her tiny fingers curl around the crib bars. Her baby sounds sharp yet fragile. I take a breath. Just 5 minutes, I tell myself. Let her sleep a little longer. Let me wake up fully before the chaos of the day begins. Coffee is my first salvation. The aroma fills our small apartment, mixing with the lingering scent of baby powder and the faint detergent from yesterday's laundry. I sip quickly, scrolling through emails and notifications. Deadlines loom, colleagues send urgent messages, and my own brain feels like a buzzing circuit board. I can't even pretend it's a quiet morning. There's a constant weight pressing down, reminding me that work starts before I even leave the apartment, by 7:30 a.m. I'm out the door, traffic a dull, predictable drone. Cars inch along, horns blare occasionally, commuters jab at their phones while trying to maintain some semblance of control. I focus on the patterns, the rhythm of stop and go, but my mind drifts back to Lily. I think about her tiny hands, her gurgling laugh, her eyes full of wonder. My chest tightens with anticipation of seeing her, an anxiety over the responsibilities waiting at work. The office is a blur. Cubicles, fluorescent lights, the constant hum of printers and computers. Emails flood my inbox. Phone calls demand attention. Deadlines press in like walls closing around me. I'm efficient, productive, competent, but by 3 p.m., my back aches, my shoulders tighten, and my mind is buzzing with exhaustion. I glance at the clock. 4:30, time to go home, driving back. I feel the tension in my shoulders start to ease slightly. Home, the word feels like a sanctuary. I think about Lily and my wife, already imagining the little routines we have in place. Dinner, playtime, bath, bedtime. But I also think about the hour I've been saving for myself. The hour where I can sink into a world that doesn't demand constant attention. Video games, strategy, my friends' voices in the headset. That hour is mine, and I plan to protect it with everything I have left. Stepping into the apartment, I'm greeted by the familiar smells of home, dinner cooking, faint baby powder, and a hint of coffee from the morning. Lily reaches out to me with tiny arms, babbling excitedly. My wife gives me a tired but warm smile, a silent acknowledgement of the day we've both survived. I nod back, forcing a smile of my own. My hour is coming. I just need to get through dinner. Dinner is chaotic, hurried. I grab a plate, attempt small talk with my wife, but my mind keeps drifting. I check the clock. 6:30, my window. I settle onto the couch, controller in hand, headset on. The familiar voices of my friends fill my ears. The apartment melts away. For a while, I am just me again. Not a father, not an employee, just a man playing a game. Then she walks in. My wife, her eyes are tired, but there's an edge of something I can't immediately place urgency. Fatigue. I barely hear her words at first. Can you watch Lily for 10 minutes? I need to take a shower. 10 minutes. So simple, so small. But in that instant, I feel a spike of frustration. My sanctuary interrupted. My hour of freedom abruptly cut. I see the exhaustion in her eyes, the quiet weight she carries, but all I can hear is the unfairness in my own mind. I want to retreat, to say no, to keep the game going, But then I look down at Lily. Her little fingers curl around my arm, her tiny head nestling into my chest. Something softens in me. I put down the controller, sighing. My friend's chatter continues obliviously. I carry Lily to the living room, rocking her gently. The apartment feels too quiet now. My wife steps away to the bedroom. I hear the water start, muffled sounds of her routine. And I sit there, holding my daughter, a tangle of relief, guilt, and lingering frustration twisting in my chest. As I watch her, I feel a flashback, the first night we brought Lily home. The midnight feedings, the endless diaper changes, my own fumbling hands unsure how to comfort this tiny, fragile life. I remember thinking then, I will protect her. I will do everything for her. And yet here I am now, struggling to balance that commitment with my need for just an hour of self-preservation that the water runs. I cradle Lily in my arms, feeling her warmth, listening to her little coos. My mind wanders to the morning routine, the endless stream of duties my wife carries, feeding, changing, cleaning, washing bottles, tending to Lily's chapped skin. She barely gets to shower more than once a week, and even that feels like a luxury. I see it now in stark relief, the sacrifice, the constant exhaustion, and yet I feel trapped by my own desire for a brief escape. I whisper to Lily, half to her, half to myself, I need this, just for a bit. But I also need to help Mummy. My voice feels hollow. The apartment is quiet, except for the faint squeaks of her toys and the distant sound of running water. I feel tension rising, guilt gnawing at me, a pressure building in my chest. A flashback hits me again. The night my wife and I sat in the dark nursery, her hand in mine, watching Lily sleep for the first time. We whispered promises, laughed softly, and made plans for this life together. 8 years of shared struggle, love, and moments just like this. And here I am, caught between love and self-preservation, between responsibility and the desire for personal time. I rock Lily gently, noticing every detail, the way her fingers curl, the little wrinkle of her nose when she smiles, the faint scent of baby lotion in her hair. She is so small, so dependent, so fragile. And I realize that my frustration, my irritation over 10 minutes, is a symptom of something bigger. My fear of losing even a fragment of myself in the overwhelming responsibilities of parenthood, but also my fear of not being enough for Lily, for my wife, for myself. The shower stops. My wife steps out, towel wrapped around her shoulders, hair damp. She looks at me. Her expression is soft but firm, a silent question. How was it? Did it work? I feel a wave of empathy wash over me, and I finally smile, genuinely, freely. Lily gurgles in my arms, reaching toward her mother. My heart softens. The irritation I felt has been replaced by a quiet acknowledgement. We are in this together. Every struggle, every exhaustion, every frustration is part of a shared journey. I set Lily down on the carpet, watching her crawl toward her mother. They share a brief moment, her little hands exploring, her coos mingling with the soft laughter of my wife. I feel pride and love swell in me, stronger than any satisfaction I could find in a game. And in that moment, I understand balance isn't about dividing time equally or escaping responsibilities. It's about presence, empathy, and shared effort. I sit back on the couch, controller in hand again, but the desire to play feels different now. I glance at the clock. My hour is still there if I choose, but I realize I don't need it as badly. Instead, I stay, watching my family, taking in these small, fleeting moments that will become memories. Parenthood, marriage, love. It isn't about perfection. It's about showing up every day, in small and sometimes inconvenient ways. As the evening stretches on, I help with dinner cleanup, change Lily's diaper, and prepare her bottle. I notice my wife's relaxed expression, the slight relief in her posture, and I feel it too, a sense of peace, a connection deeper than any game could provide. The conflict of the evening dissolves into quiet understanding. We are partners, and the struggle of balancing our needs is just another part of life we face together. Finally, Lily drifts off to sleep, wrapped in her blanket. My wife and I sit together on the couch, sharing a quiet, exhausted smile. No words are necessary. The lesson of the evening is clear. Love is present, sometimes inconvenient, and always demanding, but it is worth every second. And for the first time that day, I feel fully awake, not just to the world, but to the family I am part of, and the life we are building together. The night settles in, thick and quiet, except for the faint hum of the city outside. Lily is playing on the carpet, her tiny legs kicking as she reaches for her favorite toy, a brightly colored rattle with chimes that sing every time she shakes it. My wife is in the kitchen, washing bottles, checking the formula, multitasking in ways that leave me in awe and guilt all at once. I glance at the clock. It's 7:10 p.m., and I know what's coming. She appears in the doorway, slightly hesitant, holding the towel still clutched around her shoulders. Her expression is careful, measured. "Can I just take a quick shower?" "It won't be more than 10 minutes, she says. I feel a pang of irritation immediately. 10 minutes, so small, so seemingly insignificant. But in the rhythm of my evening, 10 minutes is a drop in the ocean of the sanctuary I carve for myself in these rare, quiet hours. My mind races. I've been at work for 9 hours. I barely get a moment to myself, and now I'm being asked to interrupt the carefully balanced flow of the evening. Yet, as I look at her tired eyes, the faint shadows under them, the small slump of her shoulders that tells me she's been on her feet all day, the frustration fades slightly. She's asking, not demanding. And Lily, her tiny hands grasping at my shirt, as if sensing my hesitation, looks up at me with those innocent eyes that always seem to see right through me. I sigh, running a hand through my hair. "Okay," I say, my voice slightly strained but yielding. "I'll watch her." She smiles briefly, a mix of relief and gratitude. "Thank you, I just really need it," she says softly, then retreats toward the bedroom, closing the door behind her. I settle onto the carpet, Lily in my lap, and brace myself for what I know will be a test of patience. Alone with Lily, I feel the weight of responsibility more than I anticipated. She kicks her legs, babbles, and crawls around me, exploring the small territory of the living room with cautious determination. Every so often, she glances at me as if testing boundaries, and I realize that this is a new battlefield, one with no controllers, no reset buttons, only the unpredictable will of a small human. I try to distract her with her toys, shaking the rattle gently, letting the chimes fill the air with cheerful noise. But her attention span is mercurial. One moment she's laughing, the next she's frustrated and tossing a toy aside. I follow her movements, careful not to let her bump her head or reach something unsafe. My mind races through everything I've read online about childproofing, about developmental milestones. about every possible danger lurking in this seemingly benign apartment. As I cradle her, I feel the simultaneous rush of love and panic. Every sound she makes is amplified. Every flail of her tiny arms is an alarm. I glance at the clock. 3 minutes in, 7 to go. My body tenses. I realize that I underestimated how exhausting this would be. The simplicity of just 10 minutes suddenly feels like an epic challenge. I hear the shower running, muffled through the bedroom door. My wife's presence is absent, yet palpable, like a ghost hovering at the edge of my awareness, reminding me of her labor, her fatigue, her need. I shift Lily to the floor, keeping a hand on her back as she crawls, an attempt to assemble the blocks she loves. She knocks them over immediately, giggling. My tension eases slightly, replaced by a smile, then snaps back as I remember 10 minutes. I must survive these 10 minutes. The apartment feels smaller, more intense. The soft ticking of the clock becomes a metronome of anxiety and responsibility. I glance at Lily, her small form rolling toward a corner where I know a stray cable might be. I move quickly to intercept her, heart pounding. I can feel every beat, every breath amplified, and in that moment, I understand something fundamental. Being alone with her, even briefly, is both terrifying and exhilarating. 5 minutes in, I feel sweat prickling at my temples. Lily is excitedly flailing with a teething toy, and I keep a firm hold on her tiny wrist to prevent a disaster. The shower continues in the next room. I realize I'm not just watching her, I'm fully responsible for her safety, her happiness, her tiny world, even for just 10 minutes. And suddenly, 10 minutes feels like an eternity. I think back to the past 8 years, the first days of dating, the college years, moving in together, the job changes, the late nights studying, planning, dreaming together. Every memory flickers past, and I feel a surge of both love and guilt. The small irritation I felt moments ago seems petty compared to this. I am seeing, really seeing, the immense load my wife carries, the constant orchestration of life that goes unnoticed when I am at work or at play. Lily cries suddenly, a high-pitched wail that makes my chest tighten. I scoop her up, rocking her gently, whispering nonsense words and silly songs. She calms for a moment, then resumes babbling, crawling, and flailing. My focus narrows completely. No game, no work, no emails, just her. I realize this is what parenthood demands, not convenience, not scheduled breaks, not even permission, just presence, pure and undivided. By the 8th minute, my exhaustion and empathy intertwine. I feel a deep respect for my wife, for her resilience, for the tireless dedication that sustains our small family. I also feel pride, subtle and quiet, that I am capable of stepping up, even if for 10 minutes. The intensity of the moment, the responsibility, the emotional stakes, all of it is exhausting, but profoundly rewarding. The bathroom door opens, and my wife steps out, towel in hand, hair damp. She smiles at me, small but genuine. "Thanks," she says simply. Her voice carries relief and appreciation, and in that simple utterance, I feel the weight of the evening's lesson. Lily crawls toward her mother, arms outstretched. My heart swells. I realize that 10 minutes was never about inconvenience. It was about connection, about trust, about understanding the invisible labor my wife bears every single day. My frustration dissipates entirely, replaced by gratitude, empathy, and a renewed sense of partnership. I carry Lily to her mother briefly, then step back, watching them interact. The apartment is alive with soft sounds, laughter, gurgling, and the subtle hum of life shared together. I think about the game I had been longing for, and suddenly it feels trivial, almost absurd. Presence, connection, love, these are the victories that matter, the strategies worth committing to as the evening stretches onward. I help with cleanup, with bottles, with bedtime preparations. I notice small smiles exchanged between my wife and me, unspoken acknowledgement of the shared burden and triumph of this ordinary night. Lily finally drifts off, wrapped in her blanket. The house falls silent, except for her quiet breathing and the occasional distant car horn outside. I sit down on the couch next to my wife, taking her hand gently. No words are necessary. The lesson is clear. Family, love, partnership, these are not always convenient, not always simple, but infinitely worthwhile. And in that realization, I find a kind of peace that no game, no work, no hour of solitude could ever provide. The next morning arrives in a soft grey light. The city outside our window hums with life as always, indifferent to the small dramas unfolding in our apartment. Lily stirs in her crib, cooing and stretching. I watch her for a moment, smiling at the tiny movements that seem both fragile and full of determination. My wife, already awake and moving quietly, catches my gaze. We exchange a look, silent, acknowledging the lessons from yesterday evening. Today feels different. There's a subtle shift in the rhythm of the household, as if the previous day's tension has given way to a tentative new order. I prepare breakfast while keeping an eye on Lily, learning how to manage multiple tasks without losing patience. It's not perfect, spilled cereal, a tipped cup of milk, but we laugh together over the small messes. I notice myself adjusting instinctively. I check the clock more frequently, not out of anxiety, but to understand how much time I can dedicate to play, work, or rest without neglecting Lily or my wife. It's a delicate dance, one I have never quite mastered before. Each step teaches me something: patience, observation, prioritization. I begin to understand that parenting isn't just about doing the tasks. It's about timing, foresight, and emotional presence. As the week progresses, we start experimenting with schedules. My wife takes slightly longer breaks, while I step in more consistently during evenings to help with feeding, diaper changes, and playtime. Initially, it feels awkward, almost like walking in someone else's rhythm. I stumble through simple tasks, spilling water or misplacing a diaper. Lily's laughter, however, quickly corrects any frustration, a sound that feels like both reward and guidance. We establish a tentative agreement. After work, I have 30 to 45 minutes for gaming, provided I assist with Lily's evening routine. At first, I resist internally, feeling my freedom shrink. But slowly, I notice the difference it makes, not just for my wife, but for myself. The hour I used to dedicate solely to games now feels richer, more purposeful. I am present when I play, relaxed because I know I've contributed meaningfully to the household. I begin to notice subtle changes in my own behavior. I communicate more openly with my wife, checking in before assuming she can handle everything alone. I anticipate her needs, noticing the tension in her shoulders, the fatigue in her voice, and in these small, mindful actions, I begin to see the power of empathy, the quiet victories that shape our shared life. One evening, after a long day at work, I settle on the couch with Lily beside me. My wife is in the kitchen, preparing bottles for the night. I watch the light fall across Lily's face as she reaches for a toy. The delicate way her fingers wrap around the colorful pieces. A wave of realization hits me. These moments are fleeting. Soon she will be crawling everywhere, talking, running, and the hours of chaos and laughter that feel endless now will become memories. I think about the previous nights, the frustration, the fleeting irritation over 10 minutes. I see now how trivial that worry was compared to the love, presence, and partnership that truly matter. I reflect on my own upbringing, the lessons my parents taught me, and how easy it is to overlook the intangible labor of love that sustains a family. The emotional weight is profound. I feel pride, guilt, and gratitude all at once. I whisper softly to Lily, words of encouragement, nonsense rhymes, gentle reassurances. She smiles up at me, and in her eyes, I see trust and unconditional affection. I realize that these small moments holding her hand, guiding her steps, sharing laughter, are shaping not just her world, but mine as well. Weeks pass, and the rhythm of our household settles into a new equilibrium. We laugh over spilled milk, sing songs during bath time, and share quiet moments of connection after Lily finally falls asleep. I still play games, but with a new awareness of timing, balance, and the irreplaceable value of family presence. My wife and I communicate more, understanding the limits and needs of each other. We negotiate responsibilities with care, sometimes humor, often patience. And in these negotiations, we find a deeper intimacy, a partnership forged through shared challenge, mutual respect, and unwavering love. One evening, after Lily is asleep, we sit together on the couch, sipping tea. I reach for her hand, holding it gently. "I understand now," I say softly. She smiles, squeezing my hand back. "We're learning together," she replies. And in that moment, I realize that balance isn't about dividing time perfectly or avoiding conflict. It's about showing up consistently in love, presence, and understanding. The city outside continues its indifferent hum, but inside our apartment, life flows with quiet harmony. The lessons of frustration, empathy, patience, and partnership have taken root. I have grown, not just as a father, not just as a husband, but as a human capable of embracing love in all its messy, beautiful, exhausting glory. And as I look at Lily sleeping peacefully, I know that these ordinary, chaotic, tender moments are the victories that matter most, victories that will carry our family through the years, through sleepless nights, through spilled milk and tantrums, into the profound, enduring joy of shared life. The mornings have become a delicate choreography. Lily stirs at unpredictable hours, sometimes waking before the alarm, sometimes sleeping past it. My wife moves with practiced efficiency, yet exhaustion lines her face. I prepare breakfast, guide Lily toward the high chair, wash dishes, and refill her sippy cup, all while keeping an eye on the clock and anticipating her needs. Some days feel endless. There are diapers that leak, bottles that spill, and tiny hands that pull down everything within reach. I feel frustration sometimes, even guilt at feeling frustrated. But I remind myself, this is life. Parenthood is chaos, but it is also wonder. I notice the smallest milestones, Lily stacking blocks, babbling words that almost sound like mama or dada, the sparkle of her eyes when she discovers a new toy, and I understand that these moments, fleeting as they are what truly matter. My wife and I communicate constantly, in small gestures and words. Sometimes she whispers to me over Lily's crib. Sometimes we pass each other in the hallway, exchanging a look that says more than words could convey. We have learned to anticipate each other's moves, to divide responsibilities without resentment, but it isn't always seamless. Tension simmers beneath the surface, a missed bottle, a slightly later bedtime, a spill that wasn't cleaned fast enough. Yet, every day ends with the same ritual: Lily asleep, the apartment quiet, and a moment to sit together, exhausted but united. In these moments, I reflect on my own patience, my own growth. I have learned that love isn't always grand gestures. It's showing up for the small, repetitive, exhausting moments. And in that, I find a quiet pride, a deep satisfaction that no game or personal escape could provide. Inevitably, conflict arises. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, I settle down to play for what feels like a well-earned hour. My wife asks for help with Lily earlier than expected. The interruption stings, and for a moment, irritation flares. I realize that my sense of personal time has become intertwined with my emotional release. 10 minutes can feel like a battle, and yet, the real battle is internal. Reconciling desire for personal space with responsibility to family. We clash subtly. She's frustrated with my fatigue. I'm frustrated with the timing. Lily senses tension and babbles uneasily, adding a layer of urgency to the situation. But, unlike the early days, we no longer lash out. We pause, breathe, and communicate. I just need a few minutes, I say carefully, adjusting Lily on the floor. I know, she replies softly. I'll be quick. Through these moments, I understand the importance of empathy, not just action. It's not enough to help. I must be present mentally, emotionally as well. I begin to notice the small sacrifices my wife makes, the tiny adjustments to her sleep schedule, the rearranged meals, the compromises that go unseen but sustain our life together. And I realize that patience isn't passive. It is active, deliberate, a conscious effort to prioritize others without neglecting oneself. Several weeks later, a particularly rough night crystallizes my understanding of partnership. Lily wakes every hour, crying, needing attention. And for the first time, I stay awake beside her through 2 full cycles of feeding, diaper changes, and soothing. My body aches, my eyes burn, but my heart expands with an unexpected awareness. I can endure this because love makes endurance bearable, even meaningful. I reflect on my marriage. 8 years together, filled with milestones, hardships, laughter, and tears. I see how much my wife has given patience, strength, unwavering support, and how much I've learned to give in return. I remember my earlier frustration over 10 minutes, over games, over small personal escapes. Those irritations now seem insignificant compared to the reward of seeing her smile after a long day, of witnessing Lily's joy at being together, of understanding the rhythm of our shared life this night. As Lily finally drifts off and I sit with my wife on the couch, we exchange a quiet look. It says everything: gratitude, empathy, love, and acknowledgement of the journey we're on. I realize that parenting, marriage, and life itself are iterative processes. We learn, we adjust, we grow. Each small misunderstanding, each clash of fatigue or desire, is an opportunity to deepen understanding and connection. Morning arrives, soft and bright. Lily's laughter fills the apartment. My wife and I have established routines that work imperfectly but effectively. We take turns, communicate openly, and respect each other's moments of need. I still play games, but only after ensuring that my responsibilities are met and my family is supported. The guilt that once accompanied personal time has faded, replaced by balance, perspective, and understanding over time. I notice subtleties I had overlooked. The small smile my wife gives when she sees me actively engage with Lily. The quiet pride I feel when I manage a chaotic morning smoothly. The relief of sharing responsibilities without resentment. These moments, repeated daily, create a rhythm, a harmony, a life that feels alive, full, and connected. The lessons are clear. Love is effort. Partnership is compromise. Parenthood is both exhausting and illuminating. Presence matters more than perfection, empathy more than entitlement. And while games, work, and personal escapes have their place, they are secondary to the unquantifiable value of shared life, of mutual respect, and of growth together. Evenings now feel different. After Lily sleeps, my wife and I sit quietly, holding hands, sharing reflections, laughing softly at small incidents, celebrating small victories. I no longer measure my time against the clock in frustration. Instead, I measure it by connection, by shared moments, by the love and presence we cultivate every day. We have grown together through chaos, exhaustion, conflict, and joy. The apartment, once a battleground of timing and irritation, now feels like a sanctuary of understanding and love. And as I watch Lily sleeping peacefully, I know that the lessons of these years, patience, empathy, presence, partnership will carry us through the next chapter of life, shaping not just her world, but ours, and leaving an enduring imprint of love and growth. It starts on a seemingly ordinary evening. Lily is fussy, more restless than usual, and my wife has had a long day at work. The clock ticks relentlessly as I attempt to soothe her, rocking her gently in my arms. My wife, exhausted, glances at me and whispers, "I think she's teething." My stomach tightens. Teething means nights of crying, waking every hour, and relentless attention. I carry her around the living room, pacing, humming soft tunes, whispering nonsense syllables to calm her, but nothing seems to work. My mind begins to race. I feel fatigue pressing down, the weight of responsibility magnified. My own desire for a moment to breathe, to sink into the world of video games or mindless entertainment, clashes violently with the reality of parenting. In this moment, I understand something profound. Patience is not simply waiting. It is enduring, actively, every squeal, every whimper, every tear. I realize the extent to which my wife has carried this burden in the past. The frustration I feel is dwarfed by her courage, her endurance, her unwavering commitment. I start to feel both humbled and terrified. How will I survive the coming nights? How will I support her without collapsing under my own fatigue? The night stretches endlessly. Lily cries, her small fists pounding lightly against my chest, her tiny body wriggling with discomfort. My wife attempts to soothe her while preparing bottles, checking her temperature, and rubbing her gums with gentle care. I watch, torn between helplessness and a fierce desire to help. We attempt shifts. I take the first hour, she takes the next. But even with coordinated effort, the crying continues, persistent and exhausting. I feel my own patience fraying. Every yawn, every ache in my back, every tick of the clock tests my resolve. Yet, Through it all, a quiet determination grows. I remind myself, this is love. This is partnership. This is life. I glance at my wife. Her eyes are red, her movements slow but deliberate. She catches my gaze and smiles faintly, whispering, "We've got this." I feel a surge of both admiration and guilt. Admiration for her unyielding strength. Guilt for the moments I've complained about 10 minutes, about games, about interruptions. The stakes have grown immeasurably, and in this crucible, I understand the real value of our partnership. Hours pass, and eventually Lily's cries subside. She sleeps, exhausted and comforted. My wife and I collapse onto the couch, bodies aching, minds heavy, yet a quiet triumph fills the air. We have survived the night, endured together, and come out on the other side with a deeper understanding of each other and the life we share. I reflect on the journey that has brought us here, the irritation over 10 minutes, the daily routines, the small clashes and reconciliations, the effort to balance personal time with family responsibility. Each moment, each struggle has been a lesson in empathy, resilience, and love. I realize that partnership is not about convenience. It is about showing up repeatedly in the messy, chaotic, beautiful moments that define a family. I reach for my wife's hand, holding it gently. "I understand now," I whisper. She squeezes back, eyes soft, a faint smile playing on her lips. "We've always understood," she replies. And in that brief exchange, the unspoken truth is clear. Love is not effortless. It is deliberate, patient, enduring, and infinitely rewarding. The morning light filters through the blinds. Lily stirs, cooing softly, and my wife and I exchange a quiet glance. We are exhausted, but we are present. The challenges of the night have left an imprint, a deeper appreciation for each other, a recognition of the fragility and preciousness of life, and a renewed commitment to partnership and love. I carry Lily to the living room, letting her explore while my wife prepares breakfast. The rhythm is different now, more intentional, more mindful, more connected. I no longer resent interruptions or small inconveniences. I understand that these are the threads that weave the fabric of our family life, that these moments, chaotic and demanding as they are, create the foundation for love, trust, and resilience. As we sit together for breakfast, laughter filling the apartment, I reflect on what I've learned. Patience is not passive, love is not convenient, and presence is more valuable than any personal escape. The lessons of sleepless nights, minor conflicts, and shared responsibility have become part of who I am, a more empathetic, patient, and attentive partner and father. Evening comes, and we sit together, holding hands, watching Lily sleep. The city hums outside, indifferent, yet inside our apartment there is harmony, connection, and love. The challenges will come again. Undoubtedly, tantrums, teething, exhaustion, and minor conflicts, but we now face them with understanding, communication, and resilience. I realize that these small, ordinary, chaotic moments are what make life extraordinary. And as I watch my wife, sleeping beside me for a brief moment of rest, and Lily dreaming peacefully, I understand the most profound truth of all. Love is a daily practice. Partnership is a deliberate choice, and family is the greatest adventure of all. Morning light spills across the apartment, illuminating the small, everyday details that once went unnoticed. Lily plays quietly on the carpet, stacking blocks in her tiny hands. while my wife moves gracefully round the kitchen preparing breakfast. I watch, sipping my coffee, reflecting on the journey that has brought us here, from the early days of frustration over a simple 10 minutes shower to the chaotic nights of teething and sleepless hours. The path has been anything but smooth, yet in every challenge there was a lesson about patience, empathy, resilience, and love. I realize now that marriage and parenthood are not about perfection. They are about showing up over and over in the messy, exhausting, and beautiful moments of life. I glance at my wife, catching her eye as she smiles faintly. In that look, I see shared understanding, the unspoken acknowledgement of everything we've endured and the trust we've built. I feel a deep gratitude for her, for the sacrifices she has made, and for the partnership we have nurtured together as the day unfolds. I participate fully in the small routines that once felt tedious, preparing Lily's bottle, tidying up her toys, helping her with early steps, and sharing laughter over spilled cereal. These moments, which once would have felt burdensome, now feel like treasures. I notice the growth in myself, in my patience, my empathy, and my understanding of the delicate balance required to nurture both a child and a marriage. We navigate disagreements with care. Minor conflicts that would have escalated into irritation are now handled with calm communication and humor. I recognize that love is not just emotion. It is action, deliberate and consistent. Each small act, a changed diaper, a bedtime story, a shared smile, reinforces the foundation of trust and respect that sustains our family. Even in moments of fatigue, I find joy. Watching Lily discover a new toy, hearing her laughter echo through the apartment, and witnessing my wife's quiet satisfaction are rewards far greater than any personal indulgence or moment of solitude. I realize that the small, repetitive acts of daily life are the true measure of love. The evening brings reflection. I sit with my wife on the couch, Lily sleeping nearby. The apartment is quiet, filled only with the soft hum of the city outside. I think back on the nights I felt frustration, on the moments I resented interruptions, on the early lessons of 10 minutes versus 10 hours. Every challenge has taught me something essential. That presence is more valuable than convenience. That empathy is stronger than irritation. And that partnership requires both giving and understanding. I reflect on the growth I've witnessed in myself, in my wife, in Lily. Parenthood has revealed strengths I didn't know I possessed. Marriage has shown me the power of mutual support, patience, and shared responsibility. I realize that love is not a static feeling. It is dynamic, active, and sometimes exhausting. Yet, it is in these very struggles that the depth of our bond is revealed. Through the chaos, I have learned that compromise is not a weakness, but a bridge. Small adjustments, careful listening, and understanding each other's perspectives create harmony, even amid exhaustion and stress. The lessons are clear. Love is a practice, patience is a skill, and family is a shared journey that requires constant effort and mindfulness. Night falls. Lily sleeps soundly, wrapped in her blanket, her tiny breathing rhythmic and calm. My wife and I sit side by side, hands intertwined, reflecting on the day. The challenges, the chaos, the exhaustion, they now feel like markers of progress, evidence of our growth as individuals and as a family. I realize that happiness is not found in uninterrupted personal time, in games, or in quiet moments alone. Happiness is found in shared life, the laughter of a child, the trust between partners, the small victories in everyday chaos. I feel a profound sense of peace and fulfillment, knowing that we have learned to navigate the challenges together with patience, love, and respect. We share a quiet smile, a soft laugh, a moment of acknowledgement that says more than words ever could. Lily stirs briefly, then settles again, and I feel the weight of the night's lessons settle into my heart. I understand that life is messy, unpredictable, and at times exhausting, but it is also filled with moments of beauty, connection, and love that make every struggle worthwhile. As I look at my wife and daughter, I know that our journey is ongoing. Challenges will come, but so will growth. Frustration will arise, but so will understanding. Sleep-deprived nights, minor conflicts, and chaotic mornings are not obstacles, but the threads that weave the tapestry of our family life. The apartment, once a battleground of schedules and fatigue, now feels like a sanctuary of love, presence, and harmony. And as I close my eyes beside my wife, I know the truth of it. Family is the greatest adventure, love is the most profound lesson, and life, in all its chaos and beauty, is meant to be shared.